Hi and welcome. If you are new to my channel, my name is Cassie. I'm a pre and postnatal yoga teacher and exercise specialist. And today I'm going to guide you through a prenatal vinyasa flow for your hips and your lower back. We will be doing movements that help to promote mobility, open things up, help to relieve low back pain, as well as integrate some movements that give stability to your hips, which is really important during pregnancy when you have the hormones relaxing in your body, more progesterone that make you more flexible. So having that balance is really crucial for helping your hips and your low back to feel good. We are going to be using 2 yoga blocks today. If you don't have them, you can try with 1 block or just grab something similar. And then you also might want a bolster, which is this big pillow behind me, or you can just grab a bed pillow. If you are further along, that can just help to kind of give you more comfort and lift the ground up higher. But if you don't have it, don't worry. And we are going to get started in a child's pose. So grab your props and join me when you're ready. Begin at the back of your mat, toes together, knees open up wide. You can walk your arms forward, stretching out your arms, or you can bring your hands under your head for a pillow, or you can even come onto your forearms. It really just depends on how far along you are and what feels comfortable in your body. So take a moment to find a position that feels grounding and restful. And then as you settle in, drop your hips heavy. Smooth out the muscles in your face. And then begin to slow down your breath. As you breathe in, rib cage expands to the sides, the back, the belly, all the way to the pelvic bowl. So think like a balloon. As you breathe out, and everything comes back into place, your body softens and drops. Keep that breath going. Every time you breathe in, that pressure from the breath is stretching out your side, stretching your back, opening you up. And then as you breathe out, it's a surrendering, a letting go, a softening. And take a few more breaths like this. Finding an easeful flow so that you're not forcing the breath or trying to make anything happen today. Rather, this practice is about tuning into what you need and then trusting your body to know what to do. Rather than getting caught up if you're doing the perfect pose or in perfect alignment, I want you to focus more on sensation and adding in a sense of fluidity. And then begin to press into your hands. Can lift the elbows up, keep the hips where they're at, and walk your upper body off to the right side of your mat, feeling a stretch in the left side of your back. Head stays heavy. And gently pull that left hip back as you lengthen through the left fingertips, encouraging opening into the left side. And then bring your right hand by your right hip as you start to peel your chest up into a side stretch. Left arm is going to sweep up and over. Gaze can turn up towards that arm. And then reverse that as you come back down. Move through that side stretch. Walk your arms through center over to the left. Pausing here with the arms on the ground. Feeling this more into the right side of your lower back and the back of the ribs. And then coming into the side body stretch on this side, left hand slides by your left hip. Lift the chest as the right arm reaches up and over, inviting length through that right side. And come back down through center, back through child's pose. Round your back as you rise up to your hands and knees. Once your shoulders stack over your wrists, lift your hips, open up the heart for cow pose. Big breath in. As you exhale, reverse that. Round the pelvis under, start to draw your baby up and in towards you. Drop the head, press the ground away. And then again, inhale as you lift your hips. Draw the heart forward. And as you exhale, press away, round, engaging your deep core muscles, hugging your baby up and in. And come back through center, somewhere between those two poses. And then begin to just take your hips from side, so move them over to the right and then over to the left. So you're shifting your weight side to side. And then as you go side to side, you can start to arc your hips back towards one heel, up over to the other side, and then back towards the other heel, getting a little more into those outer hips. So imagining that your hips are tracing a big arch, or like a rainbow. And focusing on trying to get the hips past your heel on each side. Do that one more time each way. And now come back through center and bring a block between your inner thighs, either on the skinniest setting or the middle setting. Gently squeeze into the block so that your inner thighs help to provide some pelvic stability. Bring your right arm up to the ceiling, opening your chest just from your mid and upper back. That block is there to help prevent the movement from coming from your low back. And then as you exhale, like you're giving yourself a big hug, weave your right arm under, reaching towards the left. Do that one more time. Inhale, open the right shoulder. Elbow and hand follow. Exhale as you weave it under. Come back through center. And now squeezing into the block, take your feet wide so that your hips are in internal rotation. Knees are together, inner thighs squeeze on the block, feet are wide. You're then gonna rock your hips back and forward here. And if you haven't done this pose that much, it may feel awkward because in yoga we do a lot of external rotation where the feet are close and the knees are wide. But to bring balance to our hips, and especially in pregnancy to open up the bottom of our pelvis, our pelvic outlet, it's important to incorporate this internal rotation. So take this a couple more times, back and forth. And then the next time your shoulders shift forward, take the feet back in line with the knees. Find that neutral spine, long neck. This time the left arm is going to open up, rotating from the shoulder, then the arm follows. Exhale like you're giving yourself a hug, reach under towards the right. One more time. Inhale, squeeze it on the block so the hips stay level. Open up the shoulder. And then exhale, weave it under. Come back to all fours. Take the block away. You can bring it towards the top of your mat. And come into down dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. Alternatively, you can use the blocks under your hands to take some weight off of your shoulders. And then begin to pedal out your legs. Bend a knee, press into the opposite hip, and switch, bending the other knee. Continue to shift around in any way that feels good for you. And tapping into that intuitive movement. Right, just playing around with bending the knees, the toes, the ankles. Staying strong through the arms. And then wide steps to the top of your mat. So walk left foot, right foot, nice and wide. Walk, walk, walk. And once you get to the top of your mat, take one block in between your feet. Bend your left knee and reach your right arm up to the ceiling. Draw your right hip back, your shoulder forward, encouraging length through the right side. And then switch, bend the right knee. Left leg mostly straightens. Careful that you're not locking out any of your joints, not locking out your elbow or your knee. And then forward fold. Malasana pose. Feet are as wide as your mat, heels in, toes out. Begin to drop your hips down. This is where you are welcome to add a block under your hips, but I encourage you to try to stay slightly forward so you're not just sitting all the way back. Elbows can press into your thighs, or you can bring your hands to the mat. And then just start to move a little side to side here. I always feel kind of like I don't know, what kind of animal is this? It's not a frog, but I think of my toddler doing those frog jumps. You're just moving side to side, adding some mobility to the hips. And bring your hands back to the ground. Extend the legs, toes turn forward. Blocks come under your hands as you step your left leg back. Right foot is forward, left leg steps back into a long runner's lunge. Take the blocks right inside of your foot and then squeeze your right inner thigh towards your right arm. So naturally it probably wants to open up, but I want you to use your inner thigh muscles to hug into the center line of your body. Lengthen the chest forward. Gaze towards the top edge of your mat. Good, breathe here. And now you can lower your back knee. Turn your front toes out about 45 degrees so your knee and foot or toes are still in line, and roll onto the outer edge of the foot, bringing the stretch into your outer hip. If you're not feeling anything here, check that you're not lifted up here, but that the hips are coming slightly forward. Back glute is active. Right hand can come to your inner thigh, pressing it away. You may want to bring your hand back to the ground for this one. Good. Gently lean away. And then bring your hands back to the block. Come to that starting position, foot on the ground, toes forward, inner thigh hugs to your arm. Lift your back knee again, and now reach your right arm forward. As you exhale, reach the arm up to the ceiling, opening into a twist. And then begin to reverse that arm, take it forward. As it comes to the block, straighten through your front leg any degree that it wants to straighten today without forcing or going to your maximum stretch. Do that twice more. Bend into your front knee, reach your right arm forward and open, peeling the chest open. And exhale, reverse that. Straighten through that front leg, pull the right hip back, left hip forward, fold the chest. One more time. Bend into your front knee, reach your right arm forward, sweep it open, strong in your bottom arm, and take it back to the block. Straighten through the front leg. Now keep your hands on the blocks, bend into your front knee, and walk your arms towards the left. So nothing changes except for your upper body. Your legs are the same. Pull the right hip back. Stretch through that right arm so you're feeling an opening around the side, your right side and your lower back here. And you can play with rounding the back a little bit and just see what feels good here. And now coming into Skandasana, back foot is going to turn and drop onto the mat. Walk your hands, sorry you get a butt view now, towards the back foot. Bend into your left knee. Good. You can come part of the way down, weight is back into the heel, or you can come all the way down into Skandasana, letting that front heel lift. Good. Hands on the ground or to your heart. You get a front view on the other side. And now pressing into the blocks, warrior two. Squeeze your inner thighs towards each other. Turn your toes, front toes forward, bend into your right knee, open up the arms. Check to make sure that your right knee is over your second or third toe. Back edge of your foot is parallel with the mat. Lift your back kneecap so your leg is active. And then soften the shoulders. Good, feel your beating heart. Connect with your baby. Maybe they're still, maybe they're doing somersaults right now. Finding that ease in the work. Flip your front palm, reverse your warrior. Left hand comes to your belly, right arm reaches overhead. And straighten your front leg for triangle pose. Hand can come to your shin, or you can take a block. Left arm to the ceiling. It can be really easy in pregnancy to just lock the joints out. So you want to be mindful that you are engaging your muscles, right? Little bend of the knee, giving your body the support that it wants. Gaze can go down or to the top arm. Stay here for one more breath. And start to bend back into your front knee, warrior two. Reverse your warrior, left hand to your belly, right arm over your head. And then windmill your hands down to the floor. You can take your blocks with you. Step forward. Good, forward fold. Can stay in a flat back or drop. And shift a little side to side. And then we'll do the other side as you inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Rise up to stand, hands come to your thighs, bend the knees, roll up. Reach your arms up to the ceiling. And then hands to your heart center. Take a big breath in. Let it go. Reach your arms up. Forward fold, hands to the blocks. This time your right leg will step back. Finding runner's lunge. Blocks to any height. Start by squeezing your left arm in, squeezing your left thigh into your arm. Good. Hug into the center of your body. Pull your left hip back, your right hip forward. And then rather than dropping the chest, lengthen it, look forward. And then start to lower your back knee. Turn your front foot slightly out, roll on to the outer edge of your foot. So if you look down at your left foot, you can see the bottom of it. Left hand to your thigh, you may want to take your right hand to the floor here, and then press it away from you. Instead of just kind of splaying everything forward, keep a sense of squeezing the hip points together. Going to about 60% of your max stretch. You should be feeling this in your outer left hip. And then come back to that first position, hands to the blocks. Left toes forward. Left thigh hugs your arm. Tuck your back toes, lift it up. And then reach your left arm forward as you inhale. Exhale, peel open into a twist. Reverse the arm, take the left arm over your head. As it comes to the block, straighten through your front leg. Back heel can stay lifted or drop. And then twice more like that, bend into your front knee. Left arm forward and open. Exhale, bring it back as you straighten through that front leg. Honor where your body wants to go. Make it flow so that if somebody were to try to take a picture of you, that picture would always come out blurry. The length of the pose is dictated by the length of the breath. And then keep your hands down, bend into your front knee. Start with your legs in the same position as you walk your arms off to the right. Pull your left hip back, Lengthen through your left arm. You can even play with just reaching it forward. Round that back. Getting into the left lat and QL. And now your back foot will pivot, coming onto the mat. Toes facing the side. Walk your hands to your back foot. Skandasana pose. Bend your right knee. Can stay up here high or come down low. Hands on blocks or at your heart. And now coming into that warrior two pose from the ground up. Start to bend into your front knee, squeeze your inner thighs. You can always take blocks with you. Lift the chest, open up the arms. Draw the shoulders down and reach to the front and back of the room. Settle your eye gaze. Let everything else melt away. Feeling the fullness of this experience, everything that's going on inside of you. The moments when you want out. Tell yourself, I am strong, I've got this. And surrender to that strength. Flip your front palm. Reverse your warrior. Backhand can come to your belly. And reach back. And straighten through the front leg. Triangle pose. Hand to shin or block. Right arm up. Good. Slight tuck of the chin. And peel the right shoulder back. Take one more breath. And start to bend back into your front knee. Warrior two. Reverse your warrior. Inhale. And then bring your hands down to the front. This time we're going to step to hands and knees. Lower your right knee. Lower your left knee. Take a child's pose. Move your hips a little side to side. And then making our way into a half pigeon pose. Come to hands and knees. Bring your right knee towards your right wrist. Lengthen your left leg behind you. And then take a peek at that left leg and make sure that your heel is a straight line from your glute versus going off to the left side. Good. Hips priority is facing the ground versus getting that front shin forward. I don't care if that front shin is forward, but I want your two hip points to be relatively level and balanced. Then add your blocks to fill in the gaps. So you can bring one under your right hip. You can take a block or two under your head or your chest. I love a block right now under my chest, but those pregnant and early postpartum boobs did not want that. And then you settle in. You can also be on the forearms or forearms on blocks. Make it work. Right? Sometimes we just have to make things work. And then once we commit to it, once you found your pose, be all in. Start to slow down your exhales. And as you feel your hips opening up, and the external rotation of this front hip. And then with your next inhale, come back up to your hands. Double pigeon pose. Start by sitting on your right hip. Swing your back leg around. And then option, so double pigeon, you're going to stack your left ankle on top of your right knee. Right ankle is below your left knee. If this is too intense right now, you can stagger your shins. You can get more out of a pose if you find that place where you're starting to feel some sensation, but you're able to drop and be in it versus tense up and resist it. And then I give you the freedom here. If you want to lean forward, if you want to take a side stretch, or even just kind of play around with moving the chest. Notice how as you change your upper body's positioning, that affects how your lower body feels. Scan for points of tension. Our body is all connected. Jaw tension very much influences hip tension. And as you're ready, lift yourself back up from wherever you are. Take your hands behind you to release your feet. Bring them out as wide as your mat. And windshield wiper your knees from side to side. Letting the pelvis rock with you. And we'll take half pigeon on the left side. You can come to hands and knees to get into it. Left knee about as wide as your left shoulder. Right leg goes behind you. Scoot it back, back, back. Check out to make sure that your heel is right out from your glute. And then with an exhale, drop into it. Again, you can take a block under your left hip, under your chest, under your forearms, any combination. And if you do happen to have that pillow or bolster, this is also where you can use it. Come back up to your hands or stay longer. Come onto your left hip, bring your right leg around. Double pigeon pose. This pose is also called fire log for a very good reason. All right, so you can stack one shin on top of the other. So your foot is right above your knee, knee right above your foot, or stagger the legs. Hinging forward, or playing with any combination of side bending. Our bodies are meant to move in all directions. Feel at home in your body just as your baby knows that your body is home. You guys are sharing this home right now. Lift yourself back up. Bring your hands behind you. Feet as wide as your mat. One more time, just move the legs from side to side. And we'll set up for our last pose before Shavasana, Hero's Pose. This is another internal rotation for the hips, a lot more challenging for many people. So I'll show you some options after I show you the initial pose. You're going to come onto your knees, bring your ankles out wider than your hips and see if you can sit in between your heels. Number one thing most people have is your knees. If they are bothering you, take a block or two and sit on it. Also, this can be helpful if the hips are bothering you or the low back sitting on the ground. If the ankles and feet are really bothering you, you can always roll up a blanket or a towel and bring it under your ankles. And so that's where you might stay today. Or you may be able to rotate the pelvis under. So think of drawing pubic bone up, tailbone down. You could do this on a block or not. And then come on to a forearm or two. Again, don't try to make anything happen. Don't force anything. And then this will allow you to get a deeper opening through the front of the quads. But even if you're sitting right up here, you're still thinking of spiraling thighs inwards. Good. Opening up the bottom of your pelvis, getting wider from sitting bone to sitting bone. Those ischial tuberosities. You'll just be here for about 5 more breaths. And then begin to come out. If you're reclined, make your way to your hands first. Come forward onto your hands and knees and just stretch your right leg back and your left leg back. And circle out the ankles. And we'll set up for our Shavasana. If you're comfortable laying on your back, we're only here for a short period of time, come to lay on your back. Otherwise, I'll show you my favorite version of a side lying Shavasana. You're gonna take your blocks to probably the middle height and place a bolster on top of those blocks. And then come to lay on a side, preferably your left side, and bring your right leg on to that bolster, and then you can just make a pillow for your head, add in a pillow. And alternatively, if you don't have this whole setup, you can bring your thigh to a block. Right, take the extra 10 seconds or so to get comfortable. And allow your breath to flow naturally without trying to control it. And then every moment, drop heavier into the ground. And I offer you the affirmation today. You can repeat it to yourself. And I flow with the changes that pregnancy brings. I flow with the changes that pregnancy brings. And if you're on your back, you can roll to your side, or of course, stay here for as long as you like. And then make your way up to a seated position. Take a hand to your heart and a hand to your belly. And acknowledge yourself for making this time to move your body, to connect with yourself and your baby. And with so much love and gratitude from my heart to yours, thank you for joining me today. And namaste. Thank you so much for joining me for this prenatal yoga flow for your hips and your lower back. If you enjoyed, make sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel for more pregnancy and postpartum videos.